This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
It's summertime and time to grill, and sometimes when you start up your grill you may notice that you're not getting any flame. So this video will talk about a couple things you can do to see what's going on. So what should happen when you light, turn your dial to the lighting position and you turn on your ignition source. This one uses a battery type, and some aren't using a battery. This is just a simple battery, AA battery, and just screw that on, and you should be able to press it. When you hear it, press it, you hear some clicking. You can even see a spark from the igniter clicking over to here. Now if you don't get that, maybe you just need a new AA battery. You may want to double check you have the polarity correct. If I put this in the other way, it's probably not going to function. This kind of tells you how to put the battery in. Some of these though don't use a battery, but they just use a mechanical ignition. When you push in, it creates a spark, it travels along a wire, and then it ignites. And sometimes those can just get dirty. So if you're going to press your ignition, you don't see a spark, or you press your mechanical one and you don't see a spark, it could be that you just need to take a wire brush and gently clean in this area above the porcelain, and mainly between the igniter and this metal burner, the burner head. It's got to make a really good connection, but sometimes that can get fouled up with stuff. So basically flame needs three things. It needs oxygen, it needs a fuel source, and it needs an ignition source. So this is the ignition source. Oxygen is just the atmospheric air around it, and the fuel comes from your propane. So when I turn the valve, it's going to let propane come in here, and it should ignite. Let's try it. So we're going to turn it on. We hear the gas, and kind of hard to see on the video. You might be able to hear it, but we definitely have a good flame. So this one's working great. Now if you, let me turn it back off. If you go to ignite and you see it clicking, hear clicking, you see a spark, but you turn it to the where you should have gas and you still don't get a flame, could be you're not getting fuel. If you're not getting fuel, it could be due to your propane, your fuel source. And it could be something as simple as this valve. That'd be kind of silly, but it can happen. So fully to the right, of course, is the full off position, so you always want to leave it when you're done with using it. Fully to the left is your full open position. And if you have it fully open, you have a good tight connection here. You have the screwed on tight. Gases should be flowing in. You still don't hear the gas. You don't get ignition. Could be your tank is empty. One way to check, let me turn this back off, is sometimes they have little indicators on the propane tank. It'd be like a sticker that'll show you. A more primitive way is make sure you have it off. You take this one off. If you pick it up, it should be somewhat heavy, and if you grab it and you wiggle it back and forth, you should be able to feel a liquid moving around in there. That's the liquid propane, and as it's released, it expands and turns into a gas. But if you don't feel that swashing around in there, it could be you're just out of propane. You just go and get a new tank or go get yours recharged. Usually it's around $20 to get a recharge. So those are a couple things to look at. Again, you need oxygen, so you got to make sure that there's lots of room around here where the air can flow. It would be unusual for that to be a cause. So it's usually going to either be flame not firing because of no spark or no fuel. To make sure the spark's okay, make sure you got the battery. If it doesn't have a battery, if it's mechanical, when you press it, you should be able to hear the clicking sound here. You should be able to see the spark. If If you don't see the spark, you could check. It's unlikely. Could be that wire that comes up into the igniter has somehow gotten loose. So make sure that's connected there. Follow the wire back to where it connects to the ignition source, which again is either a battery ignition here or it might be a mechanical, and make sure the wire is connected inside there. So those would be the reasons you wouldn't have ignition. And sometimes again it could be due to just the area here being fouled with grease or carbon. So this holds true with these burners also. So if you want to take these apart, depending on your model, take the grill out, take these plates off, and you should be able to see, this is the Venturi tube or burner tube, you should be able to see during ignition. Won't be able to see the spark very well because it's kind of hidden inside this box. This is the igniter coming in. But you could make sure that these holes are all open here. It's unlikely, but if they were covered in a bunch of crud or grease, you probably would have no ignition or poor ignition. These are also cleanable. You can also just pull out that pin and lift up this tube and clean it out with a wire brush, or you can get a wire brush in there and clean it here. You can use something sharp to poke through these holes to make sure they're good. But when you have gas, I think we have this on, and we give it ignition, we give it gas here, ignition, we should be good. Turn on this valve. And when you open the valve all the way and you turn on a burner, you should be able to hear the gas. I can hear it whistling as it comes in, so I'm going to ignite it. And again, hard to see on the video, but there's a nice blue flame. And if you're not getting that, probably the most common problem is people being out of propane, or they're not getting ignition because the battery's out, or the igniter's pretty dirty. So hopefully this will help you get your barbecue going. This also can apply to the big propane heaters and also can apply to the fire pits, very similar mechanisms. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.